A boy stands alone on a battlefield. No armor, no sword. Just a sling, a small pouch of stones, and a heartbeat that seems too loud in the silence. Across from him rises a warrior built like a fortress, 9 feet tall, wrapped in bronze so heavy the sun struggles to break through it. His shadow swallows the earth beneath him. Everyone knows this moment, but most people forget the truth behind it. David wasn't supposed to win. Not by strength, not by age, not by experience. And if you look closely, the story is far bigger than a boy defeating a giant. It's the story of what happens when fear controls a nation, and when one person finally decides to step out of its shadow. David wasn't raised to be a warrior. He was the youngest son, the one left out of important moments, the one the family didn't expect much from. When the prophet Samuel came to David's house looking for a future king, David wasn't even invited inside. He was out in the hills, tending sheep, unaware that anything meaningful was happening. But sometimes, the most powerful people are shaped in places no one else sees. David's life was made of quiet mornings, sunlit fields, and the steady responsibility of caring for fragile creatures. He fought off lions and bears, not for glory, not for recognition, but because that was his duty. And each unseen victory became a piece of strength he didn't yet know he would need. Meanwhile, Israel faced a crisis no one could solve. The Philistines had sent their champion, Goliath of Gath, to challenge them. Twice a day, every day, he stepped forward into the valley and demanded a single opponent. His voice echoed against the hills. His armor clanged like thunder. He terrified everyone who heard him. For 40 days, Israel's bravest soldiers did nothing. They waited, they watched, and they wondered why no one else stepped up. Fear doesn't make people weak. It makes people still. It convinces them that defeat is inevitable, so why even try? David arrived at the battlefield because his father sent him to bring food to his brothers. He wasn't there to fight. He wasn't there to impress the king. He was just doing an errand. A boy carrying bread stepped straight into a moment that would reshape history. As he reached the camp, he heard Goliath shouting his usual challenge. David froze. Not in fear, but in disbelief. "Who is this man?" he asked. "Who dares defy the armies of the living God?" The soldiers laughed. His brothers scolded him. They told him to go home. They told him to mind his place. But courage often looks like foolishness just before it becomes victory. The king heard that someone was asking about the giant, and David was brought before Saul. The tent was dim and warm, lit by flickering torches, filled with the heavy scent of iron and sweat. Saul looked at David and saw a child. David looked at Saul and saw a leader who had forgotten who he was. "You cannot fight him," Saul said. "You are only a boy, and he has been a warrior since youth." But David explained the battles no one else had seen. The lion that he fought off, the bear he struck down, the quiet victories that taught him God would not abandon him now. Something in David's calm confidence unsettled Saul, but also moved him. Saul offered his own armor, bronze plates, a helmet, a sword. David tried to walk, but each step was a struggle. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't move. In that moment, he understood something profound. You cannot face giants by pretending to be someone else. You cannot win battles wearing an identity that isn't yours. So David removed the armor and returned it to the king. He walked down to the river, knelt in the shallow water, and chose 5 smooth stones. Simple, ordinary stones. Not because he doubted God, but because Goliath had 4 brothers. David prepared for more than one giant, because courage doesn't assume the battle will be easy. He slipped the stones into his pouch, tightened his sling, and stepped toward the valley. The sun dimmed behind thick clouds. Dust swirled at his feet. The armies watched from the ridges as the boy walked alone into the place where no one else dared go. And on the other side of the valley, the giant began to move toward him. Goliath's footsteps pounded the earth, shaking loose stones as he advanced. When he saw David clearly, he stopped in disbelief. His lip curled. His laugh echoed through the valley. Cruel and sharp. "Am I a dog," he shouted, "that you come at me with sticks?" Rage twisted across his face. His armor rattled like a beast waking from sleep. "Come here, boy, and I will feed your flesh to the birds." The air tightened. The armies held their breath. But David stood his ground, his voice steady. "You come at me with a sword and a spear," he said, "but I come in the name of the Lord." And with those words, the balance of the battle shifted. David reached into his pouch and pulled out a stone. He placed it in a sling with practiced ease. He breathed deeply. He measured the wind. He looked not at the size of the giant, but at the certainty of the God who had never failed him. Goliath raised his spear, preparing to crush the boy with a single strike. Dust swirled around David's feet, forming small spirals in the valley floor. The world seemed to hold still. Then David moved. The sling spun above his head, faster and faster until it blurred. The moment stretched thin. The armies watched, unable to understand how a battle could hinge on something so small. The sling cracked through the air. The stone tore free. It flew with the force of everything David had ever learned in the quiet hills. Every moment he had trusted God when no one else was watching. The stone struck Goliath in the forehead. His roar died. His knees buckled. His massive frame collapsed to the ground with a thundering crash that sent dust exploding upward. Silence fell across the valley. The Philistines stared, stunned. The Israelites stood frozen, unable to decide whether they were dreaming. A boy too small to wear armor had ended the battle with a shepherd's tool. No one moved. No one spoke. The weight of the moment pressed down on every heart. David walked toward the fallen giant, his steps steady, his expression unreadable, part disbelief, part reverence, part quiet triumph. He stood over Goliath, not with arrogance, but with the realization that something far greater than himself had taken place. He had not won because he was fearless. He had won because he acted despite fear. He had stepped forward when everyone else stepped back. The Philistines broke into panic and ran, and the Israelites suddenly found strength they didn't know they had. The battlefield erupted behind David, but he didn't rush to join the noise. He kept his eyes on the giant who had once terrified nations, but now lay silent in the dust. And in that moment, the truth settled over everything. This story is not just about a boy and a giant. It is about identity. It is about remembering who you are when fear tries to convince you otherwise. It is about a God who chooses the overlooked, the underestimated, and the unexpected. It is about the battles no one sees that prepare you for the battles everyone will witness. And above all, it is about this simple truth. Giants fall when someone finally believes the truth about who stands with them. Everyone faces giants. Some stand 9 feet tall. Others hide inside the thoughts we try to silence. But the lesson is the same. Step forward. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if everyone else says you don't belong in the valley. Because when you finally take your step, with faith larger than your fear, giants fall.